Good afternoon, students. Are you able to hear me? Yes, students. Are you able to hear me? Okay. So a very good afternoon to all of you. Here, 11th class, accountancy class. And we had started with chapter 2, basic accounting terminology. As I told you earlier, that this chapter is very important. Until now, we have done only few terms that are like business transaction and capital. So you can write in chat box which terms we have already done till now. Yes, yes, students, give me answer in chat that which terms we have done till now. Yes, drawings, very good. Yes, drawings, what else? Drawings, business transactions, assets, liability, capital. Yes, very good. Fixed assets, current assets, goods, very good. Very good, students. So you all are responding well. And again, I'm telling you that I'm going very much slow. I'm not in a hurry to complete with the syllabus. Why? Because these terms are very much important and this will be preparing your base for the further understanding of accountancy. So whatever problems you are having in these terms, you can ask on private messaging as well as during the class. So I'm giving again a short description of all the terms which we have done till now. Business transaction means any monetary transaction which we have, which the two parties are doing in which exchange of goods and services is there. Then we did capital. The amount invested by the proprietor to start up the business is known as capital. Then one more thing, I told you there that the proprietor means the owner of the business, and the other names of capital draw and net worth, owner's equity, and internal liability. Then drawings, the amount which the businessman has withdrawn from the business for his personal use. Any goods or any amount which he has withdrawn is known as liability. Drawing, liability is the amount which we need to pay to outsider. It is of two types, liability, internal and external. External liability we will be talking about, because internal liability, the business is liable to pay only at the end of the business, when the business is wind up. Only at that time he has to pay. Business has to pay to the businessman. Then the current liabilities, the liabilities which are payable within a short period or a period of 12 months, that is the current liability. Then the non-current liability, the liabilities which we need to pay after a period of 12 months, is the non-current liability. Any assets, anything of value, or the resources owned by the business which has some value, are known as assets. So the assets are of two type. Again, the current assets and non-current asset. Current assets means the assets which are likely to be converted in cash within a period of less than 12 months, or the operating cycle, whichever is more, is known as current asset. And the examples I told you: cash, bank balance, debtors, BR, stock, short-term investments, prepaid expenses, etc. And all these terms I'll be explaining in the next classes one by one. Like BR, debtors, stock, short-term investment, all the terms will be explained later on in the different classes. The non-current assets are those assets which are not to be converted in cash. Okay, so they are further divided in two parts, which are mainly for use. The businessman will be using these assets to make profits, to generate revenue. Okay, so these assets are of two types: fixed, current, non-current assets, and non-current investment. Two types. Non-current asset, further bifurcation. Non-current asset, very good, Khushi, you are giving me correct answer. Yes, very good, Namish Jalan, that the non-current assets are of two types: fixed asset and non-current investment. Fixed assets are those assets which we have purchased in the business with a view to produce goods or to provide services, or we can say in easy language that we have purchased the fixed assets to use in the business to get the benefits. Fixed assets helps the businessman to continue the production process or to sell the goods like factory, building, land, furniture, machine, motor vehicles, computers, fax machine, printers. All these are the fixed assets because again and again these assets will be used to get the returns. Then tangible assets, further fixed assets are divided in two parts: tangible assets and intangible. Tangible are those which can be touched or seen, land, building, plant, machinery. And intangible are those, yes, Anshika Garg, you are giving me correct answer. Yes, Kushi, goodwill, very good. Good understanding. Goodwill means good image or reputation of the business, which will be surely helping the business to earn more profits. So till here we did, and yesterday I told you about also about the non-current investments. So non-current investments are those investments which the businessman has made to earn profits in future. So the for example, I told you many examples of non current investment, like investment in properties which will be not using in the business, and we will be getting something, some returns from those outside the business, like factory building is there. So that is not the investment, that is the fixed asset of building, because that factory building is used by the businessman in the business. But if the surplus funds are somewhere else invested by the businessman outside the business, like one more building we have purchased it with the business funds, and that building we have given on rent, and rent we are earning it. So investment in that building will be known as non-current investment, because that factory building we are not using it. It means if any one asset we are using it in our business, then it is the fixed asset. But if we have invested our money outside the business, then it is known as investment, like investment in share capital, investment in debentures, investment in land, building, plant, machinery. Any other investment which we have made outside the business will be known as non-current investment. Okay, write down today's term. So today we'll be starting with purchases, some very easy terms. Purchases. So the term purchase you can write down side by side, because in books you may have difficult definitions, and I'll be telling you the easy definitions. So yesterday I told you about goods. So goods are the things in which the businessman is dealing. It means the things which are purchased by the businessman for selling them. Those things are known as goods. So the term purchase is used for the purchase of goods only. So whenever a businessman is purchasing goods for selling it, then that buying of the goods will be known as purchases. Suppose a businessman has, again I am taking the same example of furniture business. A furniture trading business is there. Trading means the furniture man is buying the furniture to sell it off. Okay, ready-made furniture he is buying. So suppose he has bought two sofas costing rupees 50,000 each. So it means in business he will be not recording he has bought sofa. He will be not writing sofa. So buying of goods will be written under one head. That head is known as purchase only. Suppose same the furniture trading businessman is purchasing AC, then it is an asset. Whenever the businessman is purchasing asset, then it will be recorded under asset in fixed asset, whether it is tangible or intangible. But whenever the businessman is purchasing goods, buying goods, then it will be written under the head purchase. So purchase word is reserved only for buying of goods, not for buying of assets. Okay, am I clear? When we are buying assets, then it will be recorded under asset. But when we are buying goods, then it will be recorded under purchases. So whenever a businessman is purchased asset, then we will be recording as a asset. But whenever a businessman has purchased goods, then it will be recorded under purchases. Am I clear? Students, am I clear? So when goods are bought, then it is purchase. When assets are bought, then it is asset, not the purchase. Am I clear, students? Give me answer in chat box. Yes. So whenever the businessman is buying goods, then it will be recorded under purchase. Okay. And whenever the businessman is buying asset, then we will be writing asset. Like a businessman has purchased goods. Goods means the things in which the businessman was dealing. So we will be writing under a head. In accountancy, each and everything will be recorded under a head. So the head here will be purchase. But the businessman has purchased one machine. Why? To use it, to generate revenue from it, to earn profit by using this machine. So this machine will not be recorded under the head purchase. This machine will be recorded under the head fixed asset. Okay. So purchases are of two type. You can bifurcate the word purchase. It is of two type, cash purchases and credit purchases. Okay. So cash purchases means at the time of making purchase or at the time of buying the goods, we have made the payment. So it is cash purchases. We are giving cash, and in return we are getting goods. So it is cash purchases. And credit purchases means then we have purchased the goods, we have bought the goods, but we are not making payment in present. There is a future payment. We have promised to make payment in future. Then it will be known as credit purchases. It means we are not making payment in present, but we have promised to the seller to make the payment in near future, and seller is agreed with our promise. So in that case, that purchases will be known as credit purchases. So write down one formula here. Yes, Pulkit Sharma, you are correct. If you don't pay the money and promise to pay money in future, then it is known as credit. Yes. So write down one formula here. Yes, it will be a liability, Siddhi. Very good. Any transaction which is on credit is our liability. So if we have promised to pay that amount within a period of 12 months, then definitely it will be a current liability. And if we are saying that I am able to pay this amount only after 2 years, then it will be what? Yes, students, give me your answers in chat. If I am promising to make the payment after a period of 12 months or 2 years, after 2 years, then it will be very good. Then it will be a non-current liability. Yes, good understanding, everyone. So write down the formula, please. The formula here is total purchases is equal to, write down in your notebooks, everyone. Total purchases is equal to cash purchases plus credit purchases. Suppose I have purchased two sofa set costing rupees 50,000 each, and I have made the payment immediately. So my cash purchases is equal to 1 lakh, and 6 chairs costing rupees 10,000 each. So what will be my credit purchases? And I have made the promise that I will be making the payment for 6 chairs after 3 months. Tell me, what will be the amount of credit purchases? I have purchased 6 chairs costing rupees 10,000 each. Yes, very good. Everyone is giving me correct answer. Yes, Dhruv, Ambika, Harshita, Siddhi, Aryan, Pulkit, Rishabh, Tomar. Yo, I'm having a team of good students, very good students. So 60,000. So now any one of you, please can tell me what will be the total purchases here. What will be the total purchases here? Yes, very good. Sameer, Dhruv, Pulkit, Ambika, Ajay, all are giving me correct answer. Very good students. Keep it up. So 1 lakh was the cash purchases and 60,000 was the credit purchases. So the total purchases are 1,60,000. Very good. Now next term, I think I am clear with the term purchase. Okay. So next term is purchase return. As the name implies, purchase return means anything which we have purchased earlier, we are returning it back to the seller. Why? Just because of any manufacturing defects or due to any difference in specifications. It means we have ordered something else and we have got something else. There was mismatch in our order and delivery. So when we are returning back the goods to the seller, okay, why? Just because of some defects in the goods or there is a mismatch in the placement of order and the delivery of the goods. then we are returning goods to back to the seller. Then this term is known as purchase return. Okay, so this term is known as purchase return, like the 6 chairs which we have purchased earlier. Yes, yes, just like return in Amazon. Very good. So that is called purchase return. Yes. But in Amazon, you are purchasing goods as a consumer, and here we are purchasing goods as a seller, because we are purchasing. Why? Because we need to sell it to the customers. Here we are a retailer or a wholesaler. Wholesaler is purchasing goods from one manufacturer, and further retailer is purchasing goods from wholesaler. And if any good is not according to him, then he used to return this good to the wholesaler, and further wholesaler is returning this good to the manufacturer. Yes, very good. So if I am telling you that one chair costing rupees 10,000, which we have earlier purchased, is defective. Okay, is defective. So what will be the amount of purchase return? We have returned that chair to the seller back, or to the wholesaler, or to the manufacturer of chairs. So what will be the amount of that purchase return? Not 60,000. I have returned only one chair, because out of the 6 chair, only one chair was defective. Yes, very good. 10,000. Now write one more formula. Write down. I told you earlier that total purchases is equal to cash purchases plus credit purchases. Now next step in the formula is finding out net purchases. Write down net purchases. So net purchases means cash purchases plus credit purchases, which means total purchases minus purchase return. Minus purchase return. So could you please tell me what is the amount here for net purchases in this example which I have given you? Yes, which is the net purchases? Everyone, please tell me. Yes, very good. 1,50,000. Yes, I have purchased 2 sofas of rupees 50,000 each. It means cash purchases were 1 lakh, because I told you that I have made the payment. Then again, I purchased 6 chairs at the rate of 10,000 each. It means, and I made the promise to make the payment after 3 months. So it means credit purchases were 60,000. 10,000 multiplied by 6, 60,000. So the total purchases here is 1,60,000. Now I am telling you that just because of defect in one chair, I have returned back one chair. So that returns will be deducted from the total purchases to get the net purchases. So net purchases are equal to total purchases minus purchase return. Students, please keep writing on all these formulas, because at the end of the chapter, we will be doing numericals on the basis of these concepts. Okay. So next term, 2 terms we have done till now. Next term is sales. Sales. So again, we have purchased the goods. So far, I have purchased as a retailer. Here we are talking about a businessman. Whatever we are discussing here, from the point of view of businessman, not from the point of view of a consumer. Here we are not a consumer, we are a businessman. And which type of business we are doing? Furniture items business we are doing. Okay. So in earlier concept, we purchased 2 sofa set and 6 chairs. Why? Why the furniture businessman is purchasing all these items? Why? Keep it with himself, or to what? Yes, very good, Harshita. For selling. Very good. He has purchased. Yes, Pulkit. Very good. Yes, everyone is giving me correct answer. He has purchased the furniture items not to keep all those items with himself only, to sell them to the consumers, final consumers. So the term sale is used only for the sale of goods, not for the sale of asset. So term sale will be used only for the sale of goods. So whenever we are selling goods, so we will be recording the sale of good under a particular head. That head is known as sales. So whenever we will be talking about of sales, sales means only the sale of goods, not the sale of assets. Like purchase does not mean the buying of assets. So similarly, the sale does not mean the selling of assets, only the selling of goods to earn profits. Goods means the things in which the firm is dealing. So the term sale means the sale of only goods, and goods means the things in which the businessman is dealing, or the things which the businessman has purchased to resell them. Okay, so sale is never used for the sale of asset. It only include the sale of goods. So similarly, write down the example, the formula for total sales. So sale can be cash sales as well as credit sales, like we were having the purchase, credit purchase or credit cash purchases. So similarly, sale may be of cash sales or credit sales. Like if I am selling one sofa to my customer for rupees 60,000, remember that I have purchased it for 50. So at the same price, I must not be selling, because why? I am doing efforts to earn profit. So 10,000 will be my profit. So if I am selling one sofa in rupees 60,000 to the consumer, then I will be recording, consumer is making payment in cash. So it will be recorded as a cash sales. Okay, it will be recorded as a cash sales. Am I clear? And if the consumer is saying, yes, very good, Harshita. And if the consumer is saying that he will be making payment in future, right now is not able to make me payment, so that sale will be known as credit sale. And credit sale is always an asset, because we have to take money. So whenever we have to take money from someone, that is our asset, and whenever we have to pay money to someone, then it is our liability. Liability means we have to pay. Okay, so it will be the example of asset, and what it is known as credit sale, I'll be telling you in next classes. Okay, otherwise you will get confused here if I am merging two terms here. So here you can know it as by credit sale. So what will be the formula for total sales? Cash sales plus credit sale. Very good. What will be the formula for total sales? Just like total purchase. For total purchase, I told you formula cash purchases plus credit purchases. So similarly, for total sales, the formula will be cash sales plus credit sales. So suppose I am selling one chair in 15,000. One chair only I have sold in 15,000, and one sofa set for 60,000. Sofa set I have sold for cash, and chair I have sold for credit. So what will be the total sales here? What will be the total sales? Very good. All are giving me correct answer. Very good. 75. Cash is 60,000 cash sales, and 15,000 is the credit sale. So the total sales will be here 75,000. Now the concept is sales return. Sales return is same as the purchase return. In purchase return, we were returning the goods to the seller. But in sales return, our customers will be returning goods to us as a buyer. We are getting goods back from our buyers. Why? Because the goods may be of defective, or they were not satisfied with the goods. That's why they have returned our goods to back to us. So if the goods sold to the customer is returned by the customer, it is called as sales return. Like the one chair which we have sold to one customer, and the customer is coming back and telling us that this chair is not useful for him, so please take it back. So we will record it as a sales return. When we have sold the goods and our customers are returning it, then it will be known as sales return. Now suppose the same chair is defective, and we further returning it to the seller from whom we have bought it, then what it will be called? Our consumer has returned the chair to us because the chair was defective, and we are further returning that chair to the seller from whom we have bought it. So this transaction will be known as purchase return. Yes, very good. And for us, so we will be recording two transactions. Once it will be purchase return for us, And on the other hand side, it will be recorded as a sales return. Very good. When we have got this chair return back, then it is recorded under the head sales return. Then further we are returning this chair to our seller, then it will be recorded as sales return. So I think I am clear here. So one transaction at the one time we were the buyer of the seller chair, and on the other hand side we were the seller of the chair. So when we were buying the chair, that was recorded as a purchase return. Then when we were selling that the same chair, then we were recorded as a sales. We have recorded that transaction as a sale. So when our customer is returning that chair back to us, then it will be recorded as sales return. Then as a customer, when we are returning back this chair to the manufacturer, then we will record it in our book as a purchase return. Yes, sales return is similar to purchase return. No, these two are different concepts. How these two can be same? Purchase return means a consumer or a retailer is returning the goods back to the seller or to the manufacturer. So we are the businessman. We are purchasing the good as well as we are selling the good. So when we are purchasing the goods and we are returning those goods back to the wholesaler or to the manufacturer, then it is known as purchase return. But when our customers are returning goods to us, we are getting back goods, then it is known as sales return. Okay, so suppose we have sold I told you earlier that I have sold one sofa in 60,000 and one chair in 15,000. So the total sales were there 75,000. Now find out the net sales. What will be the net sales? Earlier I told you to find out net purchases. Now I am telling you to find out net sales. The same formula you have to use. Yes, very good Namish, very good Ambika, Paridhi, Ajay Bhatia, Keshav. You all are giving me correct answer. Good understanding students. Keep it up. Kushi, Samir Goyal. Yes, please don't give answer in group chat. Give me privately so that other students are not able to see the answers. So the net sales will be cash sales plus credit sales. Means total sale minus sales return. Okay, students. Next, that is the stock or inventory. So the term stock means the goods laying unsold at the end of the accounting year. Okay, at the end of the accounting year. For example, don't consider the term accounting year. Let us take a very easy example. Suppose a fruit vendor is there. Fruit vendor is there and he is selling fruits. Only the mangoes he is selling. And one day he went to the fruit market and he purchased 50 kgs of mangoes. Okay, in a single day he purchased 50 kgs of mango, and by the end of the day he was able, so his purchases will be 50 kgs of mangoes. Okay, and by the end of the day he was able to sell only 45 kgs of mango. Okay, end of the day, by the evening or by the night, he was able to sell only 45 kgs of mangoes. So at the end of the day, what quantities of mango remains in his hand? What quantities of mango remains in his hand? Yes, very good. Very good students. Chirag, Tanisha, Dhruv, Nilima, Abhay, Pulkit, Ajay, everyone is giving me correct answer. 5 kg. So what is that 5 kg known in accounting term? Stock. That 5 kg will be known as stock. It means the goods laying unsold, remaining unsold, goods in hand is known as stock. Okay, but whenever we are talking about business, so let me continue with the same example, then we will get back to the business. So in the next day, so that stock which is laying with him at the end of the day will be known as the closing stock. It means today he has closed his transactions and the stock which is left at the end of the day is the closing stock. So next day he again purchased 50 kgs mangoes. Next day he again went to the market and purchased 50 kgs mangoes again. So, but what about that 5 kg? What about that 5 kg, the left out goods? Will he throw them, or he will be selling those mangoes on the next day? What he will be doing? He will be throwing them, or he will be selling them next day? Yes, very good. He will be selling them. So next day, the total goods he will be having in his hands 55 kgs mangoes. Very good. 55 kg mangoes. 5 kg of the previous day mangoes and 50 kg what he has purchased today. So that 5 kg that was the closing stock of the previous day will become the opening stock of the next day. Am I clear? So will become the opening stock of the next day with which he has to start his day. 5 kg. So 5 kg is the opening stock in the next day, and the same 5 kg was the closing stock on the previous day. Am I clear? So stock is of two type, opening stock and closing stock. Now talk about the business term here. So the fruit vendor is calculating his stock on daily basis because he is daily purchasing the goods and daily he is selling the goods. His business is on very small scale. But what we people are doing in business, businessman is not calculating the stock on daily basis. Businessman follows an year. Businessman follows a year. That year is known as accounting year. Accounting year means at the end of the year, he tries to know the profit or the loss for the whole of the year. That year is known as accounting year. It is of two types, calendar year and financial year. Accounting year is the year, is a period. Normally, it contains 12 months for which the businessman will be preparing his different accounts and will be finding out his profit or loss. So this accounting year is of two types, calendar year and financial year. Calendar year means the year starts from January and ends on December. This is known as calendar year, a period of 12 months. Then financial year is the year which starts on, anyone knows the financial year starts from which month? Anyone knows about this financial year? No one knows. No, it's not March. Yes, very good, Yash. It's April. It starts on April and ends on, starts from April and ends on March. Very good. Like in school, in every next class, you people used to go in April and the year ends, one complete year ends in March. So the accounting year may be of two types, financial year or we can say the calendar year, and it is up to the businessman which year he is following. Normally the businesses which are on small scale, they are following the calendar year, and the businesses which are on large scale, especially for the companies, banks, they are following the financial year. Okay, so it depends on the business. So at the end of the year, the businessman is going to calculate all of the stock. So whatever the amount of stock he is having at the end of the year is known as closing stock, and with the same amount of stock he will be entering in the next year. So that time the closing stock will become opening stock. The closing stock of a particular year will become opening stock. Okay, so now write down the definition of both. Closing stock means the stock which is at the end of the accounting year, and opening stock means the stock which is in the beginning of the accounting period. Okay, the stock which is at the end of the accounting period is the closing stock, and the stock which is in the beginning of the accounting period is the opening stock. And what is the definition of stock only? The stock means the goods laying unsold. Stock means the goods laying unsold. Khushi is asking what is the calendar year? Calendar year means the year which is in calendar. Mostly in calendar year starts from January and ends on December. So this is the calendar year. So stock is also known as inventory. The alternate name is inventory. Okay. So stock means the goods laying unsold. And stock is of two types, opening stock and closing stock. Opening stock means the goods laying unsold at the beginning of the accounting year. And what is the beginning of the accounting year? 1st April or 1st January. So whatever the amount of goods we are having with us, left with us of the previous year, so we will be continuing the business with the same goods. That goods will be entering in the next year too. So that will be known as opening stock. And it is the amount of goods lying unsold with the business entity at the end of the accounting year. And what is the end of accounting year? Either 31st March or 31st December. So suppose I am saying you, yes, definition of accounting year, write down, accounting year is a year for which the businessman prepares its books of accounts and tries to find out the profit or loss earned by the business. Normally it contains 12 months. Accounting year contains a period of 12 months. Okay, and it can be of two types, calendar year or financial year. Okay students, so suppose I am selling furniture and I am following the calendar year. So at the end of the calendar year on 31st December, I was having one sofa set left unsold with me, costing rupees 50,000. Okay, one sofa set was laying with me as a unsold, costing rupees 50,000, and two chairs costing rupees 10,000 each were also laying unsold. So what will be the closing stock here? What will be the closing stock here? Yes, very good. At the end of the 31st December, I am having one sofa set and two chairs. It means closing stock will be 70,000. So now would you please tell me the value of opening stock? First, on 1st January, what will be the value of opening stock? 1st January, what will be the value of opening stock? Yes, again same 70,000, because when on 31st December, I was having one sofa and two chairs. Then on 1st January, I'll be having the same. Nothing will change overnight. So we can conclude here that the closing stock of one accounting period is what? Is what? Give me answer in chat. Closing stock of one accounting period is equal to dash. Closing stock of one accounting period is equal to dash. Yes, very good Siddhi, very good Ishita, Ambika, Samay, Lochan. Yes, Darshika, Aryan Bansal. Yes, yes, very good Abhay Bansal, Dhruv, Chirag. Yes, very good students, everyone. Clap for you all. So it will be equal to opening stock, because end of the year means the last day of the year, and big opening means on the very next day of the year, next year. So overnight nothing will be changed. So the at the end of the year, whatever the amount we will be having as a closing stock will be acted as a opening stock for the next year. We have to start our business with that stock, and in the next year again we will be purchasing the goods and we will be selling the